here, bro. Peace out.
In the city, and I think, there's already been so much time, effort put in by so many people that, aren't going to get credit for what they did to bring All-Star here. So, trying to make it the best All-Star the WNBA has ever had. I know we'll certainly do that, but also, it is certainly a cool.
Pay close attention to the details here. Caitlin Clark just wrapped up her first full Team USA. Practice in North Carolina, and there's a noticeable shift. It's in her posture. It's in her confidence. It's in how calmly she talks about managing her injury on a day-to-day basis. This doesn't look like the worn-down rookie we saw last summer. That version is gone. What we're seeing now is an athlete who's had 3 full months to breathe, reset, rebuild, and reconnect with the player she was before the WNBA grind tried to wear her down. And the clips coming out of this Team USA camp are quietly exposing something the league may not want people picking up on.
Hey, see their shot. Hey. So right there, Caitlin's shot looked like it's back, y'all. I mean, she ain't even jumping for real. Now, I don't think this was a 3 either. Nope, it wasn't. This looked like a mid-range shot. But overall, her form looked great.
There it is. That snap. That lightning-fast release that once made her the most feared scorer college basketball had ever seen. Even the broadcaster in that clip nailed it. This looks like the real Caitlin, not the watered-down version we watched grind through her rookie year. And here's the part most people are ignoring. Before stepping into the WNBA, Caitlin Clark intentionally added a noticeable amount of muscle. The logic made sense. She needed strength to survive, the physical play, to take hits, to withstand the welcome to the league treatment veterans were lining up to give her. But that added bulk came at a cost. Her shot lost its rhythm. The release wasn't as sharp. Her range wavered. Those logo threes that once felt inevitable suddenly bounced harmlessly off the rim. Now rewind and study that practice footage again. No extra lift. No forcing the motion. That's pure instinct, the same muscle memory forged at Iowa. And it's resurfacing because she's finally had the time to settle back into a body that feels natural to her.
But I'm just saying, bruh, when it comes to Sophie Cunningham, the people got her numbers, and they know that she's one of the ones, man. Now, with all of that being said, we ain't gonna waste no time, man. We're gonna head on over to the WNBA Twitter account, because I almost was trying to make a video about this, because the WNBA, I don't know what, like, they just been posting these clips of Team USA, and they really haven't been posting Caitlin. I just gotta be honest. So this was the clip, right?
Again, this is where things get interesting. Sophie Cunningham landed 8th on the list of most Googled athletes for the year, and she was the only WNBA player anywhere on that chart. One analyst went even further, claiming Sophie is the league's 2nd biggest star, trailing only Caitlin Clark. Now, I know some people are already fired up, but let's stick to reality instead of emotion. Search trends don't fabricate buzz. Engagement numbers don't exaggerate influence. Sophie Cunningham drives attention, sparks debate, and dominates conversations in ways most players in this league simply don't. Love her or loathe her, she's undeniably captured. Eyeballs. But here's the part that really matters. Inside Indiana, the vibe wasn't great this past season. Fever fans didn't exactly warm up to Sophie, not with the physicality, not with the confrontations, and especially not with how she carried herself in games involving Caitlin. Whatever goodwill existed didn't just fade, it cracked, and it did so in full public view.
Billboard that's going up on the JW.
I haven't seen it, but I've heard about it. Yeah, it's pretty solid. Anytime you get on the JW in Indianapolis, like, that's a big deal. Good, thanks.
What do you feel like is a positive tweet?
A positive what? Sorry. Trait. I think just adversity in itself. Like, nobody said this season was going to be perfect for us. There's always going to be ups and downs, and I think as we get moving here and get to All-Star, then get through All-Star, like, these are the moments that we're going to look back on and hopefully be able to, give a lot of credit to for certain situations that we were put in, for, injuries, or, coach it not being here for a couple games too. Like, everybody's been through a little bit of adversity here. So, I think just giving our group credit for being able to stick together and, know that whatever's in our locker room is really all we need to go out there and win. And I'm honestly just really proud of our group every single day.
Pay attention to how Caitlin talks about hardship in that moment. She shifts the spotlight to her teammates, praising how they stayed connected through injuries, missing coaches, and constant adjustments. But what stands out even more is what she deliberately leaves out. There's no mention of the media storm, no response to the non-stop arguments about race or fame, no acknowledgement of the obvious truth that her rookie season turned into a cultural flashpoint that had very little to do with actual basketball. That answer is textbook media. Disciplined. Keep it upbeat. Lift the team. Stick to the game. Step carefully around every trap. It's the smart move. But it also exposes the reality she's living in. Every word has to be calculated. Every sentence weighed, and that kind of pressure wears on you. No rookie should have to. Juggle that mental burden while learning a new system, adjusting to a faster, more physical Batenges league, and facing defenders who've spent months breaking down her every move.
I'm telling you right now, this weekend was pretty decent, man. Caitlin Clark returned back to the basketball court, and I'm telling you right now, from the little snippets of clips we was able to see, she looked like her old self again, man. They didn't spill too much of the beans that was going on with her online, but there has been a bunch of footage coming out. Now, Sue Bird spoke to the media yesterday. A couple of other coaches did, but y'all already know what we hear. We here to see CC, man. Now, there was some news that came out about Angel Reese and stuff, but we ain't really too much tripping off that. Now, someone I have not seen them post yet is Stephanie White. It's almost like Stephanie White is non-existent for this Team USA. Now, I know she's one of the coaches. I don't believe she spoke to the media, which is crazy to me because Stephanie White was on a whole media run last year. This year, I think she did like maybe a couple interviews, but overall, she's been kind of silent. I don't know what that's all.
Now let's focus on what wasn't put front and center. Throughout the weekend, the WNBA's official social channels rolled out Team USA practice content non-stop. We saw Angel Reese clips. We saw Chelsea Gray moments. There was even a broad Next Generation post where Caitlin appeared for a split second. But what never showed up was a standalone Caitlin Clark highlight. Think about that. The player who helped spark a 48% jump in regular season, viewership returned to the floor for the first time in months, and the league chose not to spotlight her individually. Some will say that's overanalyzing social media decisions, but social media is the league's megaphone. It's how fans are reached. It's how stars are created. It's how momentum is built. So, when the most commercially powerful player in the league is folded into Bly's, a montage, instead of being featured outright, it tells you something is happening behind the scenes. Either the league is so worried about favoritism backlash that it's pulling punches, or there's a conscious push to boost others while dialing her presence down. And honestly, neither option reflects particularly well.
Them posting Caitlin. Now, this is a 16-second clip. Now, some of y'all be mad when I be talking through the clips, but I gotta react to what I'm seeing, so we gonna let it play. Then play it over again. Let's watch it.
That clip was just 16 seconds long, and it didn't even surface until 6 hours after practice. Wrapped 16 seconds, yet even in that tiny window, you can see it clearly. Caitlin's shot looks sharp, her movement is smooth, and that missing confidence suddenly feels like it's back. But while everyone's watching what is being shown, there's another presence that feels noticeably absent in this Team USA coverage. Stephanie White. She's serving as one of Team USA's assistant coaches, and just last season, she was the head coach of the Connecticut Sun before taking over the Indiana Fever. When that Indiana job became official, she was everywhere: interviews, radio spots, vision statements, full-on media blitz. Fast forward to now, And it's the opposite. Since the season ended, she's barely spoken publicly, maybe 2 or 3 interviews at most. At these Team USA practices, she's not positioned out front. She's not. Drawing attention, it almost feels intentional, like she's deliberately stepping out of the spotlight. That's a major change from the coach we saw just months ago, and it raises a real question. Has the weight of coaching Caitlin Clark, the expectations, the scrutiny, the non-stop media, attention, and the broader cultural noise reshaped how she chooses to engage with the plan? Public?
And wanting to get better. So I think just, being in situations that have been, tough and responding really well every single time is what we can always fall back on.
How did you feel after going through whatever, to what extent you went through today?
Yeah, I feel good. I'm going to be day to day from here on out, and doing everything I can to put myself in a position to play the next game every single time. That's always my goal, is to be available for the next game, and doing everything I can with the medical staff to be able to get my body right, to be able to do that.
Day to day. That's the phrase Caitlin keeps coming back to whenever her health comes up. She's working closely with the medical staff, doing everything possible to be available for the next game. Her mindset is always the same: be ready when it counts. But the bigger picture matters here. Caitlin Clark logged more minutes than any player in the WNBA during her rookie season. She carried an offensive responsibility that would wear down seasoned veterans. She took hit after hit, much of it left unaddressed by the league, all while operating under the most intense spotlight women's sports has seen. So when she talks about managing her body one day at a time, she's acknowledging reality. That first season left a mark. The fatigue was real. The damage added up. And now she's approaching her career with intention, prioritizing recovery, maintenance, and long-term durability. That's growth. That's experience kicking in. And that's the difference between players who flame out early and those who sustain elite careers for a decade or more.
Before we get into the WNBA, Caitlin Clark looked like her. Oh, pass. Hayes hit her shot. Dang. So right there, Caitlin's shot looked like his back, y'all. She ain't even jumping for real. Now, I don't think this was a 3 either. Nope, it wasn't. This looked like a...
Focus on that release. Look at how clean it is, how smooth it feels. The broadcaster in that clip keeps circling back to the same point for a reason. This is the college version of Caitlin Clark. The one who didn't hesitate, the one who didn't overthink mechanics, the one who could rise up from anywhere on the floor and trust the shot every single time. And if that version is truly back, here's what it means for the WNBA moving forward. If Caitlin returns with her natural shooting rhythm fully restored, if she's now comfortable with the league's pace and physicality without sacrificing what makes her special, if she's learned how to survive the non-stop media storm and the cultural noise that followed her everywhere as a rookie, then the league is about to see what she actually looks like when she's not battling her own body. Last season was impressive despite everything stacked against her. Rookie of Corsair, the year through the chaos, all-star while running on fumes, playoff appearances while carrying a franchise and an entire spotlight. Now imagine the difference when she's settled, when the shot is consistent, when the offense isn't entirely on her shoulders, when Stephanie White has a full training camp to design a system that amplifies her strengths instead of forcing constant improvisation. That's the version of Caitlin Clark. The rest of the league should be losing sleep over not the overwhelmed rookie, but the calm, efficient, ruthless scorer who's had time to reconnect with who she really is. And the Team USA footage is already hinting at that evolution. The quick trigger is back. The confidence is visible. Even the joy is noticeable basketball without the crushing weight of 10. Expectation attached to every possession. That's why these next few months matter so much. She has space to train without game pressure, time to rebuild conditioning without the grind of a full WNBA schedule, time to study film, refine her approach, and come back sharper. Meanwhile, the league itself is still trying to process what last season exposed. The WNBA spent an entire year scrambling to manage the Caitlin Clark phenomenon, the ratings spike, the flood of new fans, the attention that didn't fit neatly into their traditional framework. And along the way, they made questionable choices how they marketed her, how they protected her, how they tried to balance her star power with a desire to keep everything even. But here's the truth they can't escape. Caitlin Clark is the most important player in the Fest. WNBA right now. Not necessarily because she's already the best, though she's firmly in that conversation, but because she's the engine. She brings the eyeballs, she moves the ratings, she pulls casual fans into the sport, and if the league continues to minimize that, dilute it, or shy away from spotlighting her impact, they're risking the biggest opportunity women's basketball has ever had. The fact that Sophie Cunningham is the only other WNBA player showing up alongside Caitlin in mainstream Google search data tells you everything. 2 players in an entire league are breaking through nationally, too. And instead of leaning into that, instead of building momentum around it, the league often acts like star power should be evenly distributed. That's not reality. That's not how growth works. You don't flatten your stars, you elevate them and let them lift everyone else. The NBA figured this out decades ago with Michael Jordan, then again with LeBron James, and later with Steph Curry. They didn't apologize for popularity. They embraced it, marketed it aggressively, and turned it into a global brand. The WNBA has that same chance right now. Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham have already shown the blueprint. The only question is whether the league is willing to follow it. So here's what really matters heading into next season. Does the WNBA finally commit to promoting Caitlin the way a generational star deserves? Does Stephanie White fully build around her skill set instead of asking her to constantly adapt? Do officials finally crack down on dating, the kind of physical play that would be penalized immediately in any other context? And most importantly, does Caitlin step back onto the floor with that Iowa-level confidence completely restored, ready to remind everyone why she changed college basketball forever? Because if the answer to those questions is yes, next season won't just be good, it'll be transformative. Ratings will surge, arenas will fill, and the league will be forced to confront a simple reality. They've been handed a player capable of reshaping the entire future of the WNBA. What we're seeing now from Team USA is only a teaser. The real test comes when the season tips off and we find out whether the right lessons were actually learned from year 1. Drop your predictions below. Are we about to witness the best version of Caitlin Clark yet, or is the league going to waste another year trying to figure her out? Let me know what you think, and make sure you're subscribed, because we're tracking every chapter of this story.